Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Toilets and Titles. My name is Justin Stevens, and I'm back with you for another episode of the Waiver Wire. Sorry, we're a little bit late this week. I've been under the weather. My throat's not quite right. And as you can see, I'm in the classroom doing it today. I didn't know I was going to be doing it. I just found out like literally a minute ago. So I would have, had a full lesson lined up for you on the whiteboard had I known. But here we are, and this is what we do. So unfortunately, I have to make this one quick, and I apologize for the coughing. I know this is going to be horrible. I apologize, but we're going to get this out, especially for you Patreon supporters. And I'm going to get it sent to you through email by lunch today at bare minimum. Okay, so let's see. First off, I want to start off by talking about the Patreon account itself, since I just mentioned it. Patreon.com/toiletsandtitles. Get on there and help us out, and give us that support, give us that love. Toiletsandtitles.com, where you can find all of our videos, our articles, and NFL and fantasy content. Honestly, I'm just going to jump right into it because I do have a class that's about to start really soon. So last week's successes, the Vikings defense still only rostered in 34.7% of leagues, was a top 10 defense last week with 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. Khalil Herbert, this one was John's boy, Khalil Herbert, and he did stepped up in a big way. He was a top 10 back this week as the lead guy with a 5.1 yard per carry average. Darrell Williams was another one of John's guys. That was just because he was the first one to get him on there, but still he gets credit. Darrell Williams was a top 5 back before Monday Night Football. Devontae Booker is no longer waiver wire eligible, and neither is Darrell Williams or Khalil Herbert, for that matter, because all 3 of them are over 60% rostered in leagues. But Devontae Booker scored 10.9 PPR points, which is a flex-worthy pickup. McCole Hardman, 46.2% rostered, was 10.8 PPR, was also flex-worthy. Hunter Henry was had a decent game. He's still rostered just underneath that 60% rosterability at 58.8%, 10.5 points per reception with a touchdown, which also made him a very streamable tight end. The Bengals defense rostered in 49.1% of leagues. was a top 12 defense. Was a top 12 defense with 1 turnover, 1 sack, and only 11 points scored against them, which made them a streamable defense. The Colts defense no longer eligible for waiver wire. They were picked up in a lot of places, probably because of that opponent against Houston. But they were a top 4 defense before Monday Night Football with 3 turnovers, 2 sacks, and only 3 points scored against. So I helped you out with that one a little bit. I hope you were paying attention for those of you that needed a streaming defense because they were better than streaming. Chris Boswell, 19.1% owned. He was a top 3 kicker before Monday night. Alex Collins, 50.5% rostered ahead. He was a low-end RB1 or a high-end RB2, depending on the scoring format. So let's look forward to this week. These are the guys you should be targeting in the waiver run. Most leagues' waiver wires run at some point really late tonight or early tomorrow. So pay close attention. Coach Sheps is the one that brought you those 2 running backs from last week. I'm talking about Khalil Herbert and Darrell Williams, obviously. So pay attention because he's giving you another running back this week. Cleveland's Demetric Felton. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize for the coughing. I'm trying to it's going to be a quiet work day in the classroom today. I'll tell you that because the kids are going to stay away from me. But then the more I talk, the more I cough. All right. But with Chubb and Hunt both banged up, the way I understand, Hunt could very well be out for quite some time. And Chubb most likely will probably be back this next week. But even with that, they need that change of pace back. Plus, you never know with injuries. They can linger. Maybe Chubb's out again. Felton needs to be rostered. He's flashed at times as a pass catcher out of the backfield this season and could be an interesting play if both Hunt and Chubb sit out in week 7. I'd say more than interesting. It could be a dynamite play in week 7 if they're both out. John also put down here Ricky Seals-Jones, the tight end from the Washington football team. 9 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown over the last 2 weeks. He's not a game wrecker, but he's a solid play. Pick him up if you have a tight end on bye, or if you need one, or if you drafted one that's disappointing you like Jonnu Smith. He actually said, Jonnu Smith, I'm looking at you. He must have been disappointed by Jonnu. But yeah, so there's a tight end streamer for you. Okay, I have several down here for you. Again, unfortunately, I got to try to make this quick, but I've got 2 quarterback streamers for you. These are really good streamers. I'm not saying pick these guys up and hold them forever, but I'm saying for this week, if you need a streamer, go out and get Sam Darnold. He is 41.9% rostered in leagues. And on this week's episode of Who Gets to Play the Giants, I give you Sam Darnold. He gets to play the Giants this week, so look for him to have another big game. The Vikings and the Eagles both played Darnold and played him pretty well, and the Panthers were really not only Darnold but the Panthers. Okay, so the Vikings and the Eagles both played Darnold and the Panthers really well over the last 2 weeks. But the Panthers appear to be a team that plays really well against the teams that they're supposed to play really well against, and the Giants are one of those teams. Matt Ryan, 29.1% rostered. After a rough start, Ryan has put up solid numbers the last 2 weeks. One of those without wide receiver Calvin Ridley. And then, of course, they were on bye this week, so they get to come off of the bye and fly right into facing the Washington football team that they should be well prepared for when they don't even need to be that well prepared for, because that defense looks horrible. The Washington football team, they are the 31st ranked defense against the pass. And 2 weeks ago, Matt Ryan was a QB 12 versus the Jets, who are 10th against the pass. And last week, the last week before the bye, he against Miami, who are 28th against the pass, he was the number 2 quarterback. So, or number 3 maybe, depending on your scoring format. But yeah, so Matt Ryan it has started to come on here towards recently, and especially against weaker opponents, and that's what he gets this week. So start Matt Ryan. Ronald Jones and Marlon Mack. Here, listen. Now, for these two, these are guys that I'm saying pick up and hold. These aren't going to get me waiver wire points for this week. I understand that. I get that. But that trade deadline, guys, is in like 2 weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from tomorrow, or from tomorrow, 2 weeks from today, whatever. Marlon Mack is only rostered in 7.9% of leagues, and Ronald Jones in 38.5% of leagues. Both of them can be had for next to nothing in almost any league. With that trade deadline coming up, both of these guys are running backs that other teams have been looking at and shown interest in. And there are a lot of running backs that are going down, guys. They might get an opportunity. And Marlon Mack might go from being the RB3 in Indy to being the RB2 for who knows where. You know, maybe Chubb's injury holds out for longer than they want, but longer than they think, and they need a running back body, and he goes in there and he starts getting some game time. So you never know. I'm just saying, if you have the roster space, hold these guys, see where they land, see where maybe you might be able to pick up on your competition that way. And then in 2 weeks, trade deadline comes and goes, they don't go anywhere, or they go someplace that it looks like they're not going to have, that nothing's going to change with them. Cut them. You're not out anything. You got them for free. Rondale Moore, 39.4% rostered. Christian Kirk, 25.1% rostered. AJ Green, 32.9% rostered. The Cardinals play the Texans this week. I have no idea which of these 3 are going to be the guy, or which 2 of these 3 might be the guy that scores a touchdown from this group. But at least 1, if not 2 of them are going to score a touchdown against Houston. Maybe even 2 touchdowns. They're all going to be stream worthy, at least potentially for this week. and you have a real opportunity to get a wide receiver 2 out of them. So I'm just saying, go out and pick them up. I put them in the order that I would get them: Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk, AJ Green, just in that order. But get whoever you can get whoever you want out of those three. If you like the matchup for AJ Green against a slot, well, actually, I guess Rondell probably plays a lot of slot, but whatever. Take a look at the matchup, see what you think. But none of the three of them are going to disappoint you, most likely, especially in a PPR format. They're all getting a few looks. Zach Pascal, 12.1% rostered with Paris Campbell now going down. Zach Pascal has played for the Colts for several years, and I've watched every game. I can tell you this much about Zach Pascal. As soon as a player goes down and he steps in to play that next week, he's ready. He's ready, and he's focused, and he scores points, and he scores touchdowns, he scores fantasy points, he gets receptions. He's going to help your team. Paris Campbell went down again with another foot injury. This nagging, injury-prone wide receiver is really frustrating Colts fans. But at the same time, you got to feel for him. We love the guy. Even though he's hurt all the time, we feel bad for him. We absolutely love Paris Campbell in Indianapolis. And more than just what he does on the football field, he's just a heck of a great guy. And we're rooting for him, we're pulling for him. But when he goes down, this is Zach Pascal's time. He's going to shine. The Colts have the Jets and the Jaguars coming up in a few weeks. They got a couple of rougher opponents before that where they're still going to have to throw the ball. So it's still not going to be a bad start to start Pascal. But hang on to him when you get him because, like I said, in 3 weeks, they start that 2-week easy schedule where they have the Jets and then the Jaguars back to back. And the Jets aren't horrible against the pass, but I'm just saying, because of the matchup and because of what the Colts can do with play action and with Taylor, I think that's going to be a great matchup for the Colts passing game as well. So I like Pascal to be a playmaker for the Colts offense. Darnell Mooney, 45.8% rostered. If there's one thing the Buccaneers are bad at, it's defending the pass. Mooney and Fields will have to get the passing game going against that Bucs defense to even have a shot. And we know they're not going to have a shot, which means they're going to be down. Negative game scripts would suggest that they're going to pass the ball more. So Darnell Mooney, get him in your lineups as a streamer. I'm excited about the next one, guys. I'm real excited, and I'm mostly excited because I'm in a 2-flex league where I have had literally 8 running backs this year go down. Literally 8 running backs go down. Like, it's horrible. So my flex spot has been miserable. So I went out and got myself Zach Ertz this week since old boy was hurt. The other tight end there was hurt, Goddard. Since Dallas Goddard went down, I knew Zach Ertz was going to get the play, and he ended up getting 9.9 for me in that league, and that's only 0.25 PPR. So he was in double digits in PPR. And very streamable. So that was awesome. But now he gets traded to the team that I was just talking about with that high-powered offense, the Arizona Cardinals, and they need a tight end. Guys, he's still only rostered in 48.3% of leagues. You can go get him. You can go get him in a lot of your leagues, about half of your redraft leagues, according to this. So go out there, pick him up. They utilize their tight end effectively and efficiently. Zach Ertz is going to be a big play for the Cardinals. Speaking of the Cardinals, I've got the Cardinals defense down too. Guys, looks to me like I've got the Cardinals down as a very streamable team this week. You want to know why? Because they get to face the Houston Texans this week. That's why. So Houston gave up 3 turnovers, 2 sacks, and only 3 points on the field to the Colts this past week. Honestly, I believe that the Cardinals defense is playing better than the Colts defense right now. And they are a top 3 defense. The Cardinals are a top 3 defense, top 2 in some formats. I guess it depends on the scoring format. Bare minimum, they're top 5 defense. But I've seen them as top 2 or top 3 in most formats I've seen. And they're still only 50.7% rostered. Go out and pick them up, play them against Houston this week, and get that dub. The Saints defense is another top one. They're a top 4 defense across most formats I've seen. 49.8% rostered. So available in about half your leagues. They get to face Geno Smith this week, who led the offense, who led the Seahawks offense and gave up 5 sacks. Okay? They gave up 5 sacks this week. The Saints have a real opportunity to get some sacks this week. Sacks equal fantasy points. All right. The only kicker I have down here for you is Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby, 19% rostered, and he gets to face the Washington football team. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I laid down 3 kickers here. I just put them all together. I've got Mason Crosby at 19% versus the Washington football team. Young Ao Koo, 48.6% rostered. He is at Miami. And Matt Prater, 50.1% rostered versus Houston. They are all solid streaming kickers against bad defenses that give up big points to kickers. Nate threw down a couple here for us. He's got JD McBiscuit. You actually didn't have to tell me who that one was, Nate. I got that one. JD McBiscuit is nice. I like that. You know why you can call him McBiscuit? Because he is smooth as butter. When you put that butter on the biscuit, it makes it even better. But he's only rostered in 42% of leagues. JD McKissick, you hate to add him because it hurts. He said Nate hates to add him because it hurts his Gibson shares. But Gibson isn't fully healthy and was banged up yet again yesterday or this past week. Joshua Dobbie had 8 carries for 45 and 8 carries for 65. Clearly the number one if Gibson is down. And he'll have a role going forward regardless of Gibson's status, which is absolutely true because the coaching staff lied to us yet again, like coaching staffs do, and they are still giving McKissick plenty of opportunity even when Gibson is healthy. So I'm with you there, Nate. Nico Collins. He put down Nico Collins, 1.6% rostered. Where's this coming from, Nate? He says he's not sure what we'll get from Doug Mills, Davis Mills. He called him Dougie Mills at the Houston offense. But let's see. Collins, 4 catches for 44 yards on 6 targets. Nothing crazy and looks to still be the number one. But his 57% snap share is why I'm adding him where I can. Obviously, they want him on the field. He's been on IR, and he's back and getting playing time. Again, guys, sorry that this all sounds so choppy. I wasn't prepared. I did not think I was going to have to do this episode this week. And honestly, I'm struggling right now, but we're getting through it. I have kids coming in the classroom literally in 2 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. Rich says go out and get Tua Tagovailoa and Jamal Agnew, Spiro Agnew. Let's see. Eric says Rashad Penny. Andrew wants you to go get Rashad Bateman. Let's see. Ben says Chris Evans for the Bengals. That's a good one. And Dearness Johnson, the other running back for the Browns. So he's going with the handcuff or the opposite other running back from John. And then, Matt, I love yours because I own Ramondre Stevenson in a lot of redraft leagues because I held on to him all this time, even when he was a healthy scratch like 2 or 3 weeks this year. So I'm going to read yours as the last one going out. Matt says, Ramondre Stevenson, 11.5% rostered. Harris looked banged up at the end of the game, and Stevenson came into the game with back-to-back passing plays, a 20-yard swing pass, and a wheel route. Ran more routes than Damian Harris. And I got to tell you, this dude is talented. I'm not saying he's better than Damian Harris. But I am saying that he is a talented back and deserves more of an opportunity, especially since James White's out for the year. Why not give this guy a chance? He's far better than any other back they have in that backfield besides Harris. So I'm with you, Matt, and here's to hoping that those shares pick up. All right, I got a couple comments here. John, oh God, all right, all right. I love you, but that's weird. And then I think I just caught COVID. Yeah, I appreciate that. Sorry about that, Joshua. You probably did. That's the waiver wire episode for you guys. Like I said, I just went ahead and threw it out to everybody because I was just in a hurry and I just wanted to get it out. I'm going to email this during a little study hall period here right out the bat as soon as we get started with class. So to you Patreons, appreciate your patience with us this week, and we'll see you next week, bigger and better than ever.